I've always been a fan of small single-cell flashlights. In fact, they were some of the very first EDC items I can ever remember carrying. Whether it's the only light in my pocket when I'm off duty, or a backup to my primary light, they've become an indispensable part of the tools I carry with me almost everywhere. A couple of months ago, when I managed to misplace my Olight i3E, I went online to find a new replacement. I found a couple of good options, but nothing that really caught my eye. That is, until I saw the EDC C1, which I ordered almost immediately. After a few days of impatient waiting, I finally received the package and tore it open to find that the solid brass body looked even better than I could have imagined. Roughly the size of my little finger, and with a diameter slightly smaller than a AA battery, I find this light just disappears in my pocket. Despite brass's density, this is a really good solid feel without being overly heavy and weighing me down. Compared to other lights made of aluminium, it feels solid, high quality, and extremely durable. When turning the light on for the first time, I was immediately blown away by how warm the beam was. I was expecting the light to have a warmer tint than on a standard LED, but the E21A has a significantly warmer tint than the even more common Nichia 219B. While it might not be for everyone, I've grown rather fond of the 3000K tint, which I find rather reminiscent of an incandescent light. The beam pattern has an excellent broad hotspot, lending itself well to close-up work. Looking more closely at the emitter, we can see it's domeless, which leads to a more tidy beam with less artifacts and color shift at the edge of the beam. When needed, a turbo mode can be engaged, throwing out a reported 330 lumens downrange for 30 seconds, giving you a realistic working distance of 45 meters or 150 feet. Switching modes is extremely simple due to the built-in clicky tail switch, and unlike any other light, the mode cycles upwards from low to high, then ramp back down to low. To turn the light off, one has to press and hold the rear tail switch, which many, including myself, find rather inconvenient. It took me a while to get used to this offbeat user interface, but after a few minutes of playing around with it, I find I don't mind it all that much. Aside from the standard modes, the C1 has several hidden modes including Moonlight, Strobe, SOS, and a Beacon mode. A quick double tap of the tail switch will cycle you through Turbo and all the other special modes. I find the Moonlight mode is just a little too bright and definitely more than claimed 0.5 lumens. All the other hidden modes are nice to have, with the exception of the vastly useless SOS mode that I really think no one will ever really use. If the normal UI isn't quite your speed, the C1 has a hidden tactical mode accessed by pressing the rear button 7 times from an off position. This disables all other brightness settings and special modes, leaving only a momentary turbo, click on off for turbo, and double tap for strobe. Folomov has also programmed in a lockout mode, which is activated by clicking the rear tail switch 3 times. Overall, I found the little quirks in the UI forgivable, and haven't found any deal-breaking issues during my daily use. In future Folomov lights, I'd love to see a simple low, medium, high UI with a dimmer moonlight mode as well as taking out the annoying SOS mode. When it comes time to recharge, all you have to do is pop out the included 10440 cell and plug it into a common micro USB cable. This convenience means you slightly sacrifice overall capacity, but I find this a small price to pay, especially when your battery runs low when you're away from a charger. Plugging the battery into an inline power meter, I found that the internal charging circuit does not pull as much amperage and takes slightly longer to charge than a normal wall charger. From a completely drained state, it takes about an hour to recharge via USB. If time is of the essence, using a normal charger will get the C1 up and running in about 30 to 45 minutes. A few other reviewers online have reported some manufacturing issues with their lights, mostly consisting of burnt-out LEDs after running the light on turbo. Despite having frequently run my light on turbo on a regular basis, my C1 has yet to have any problems. I reached out to Illumination Supply and they reported that there were some initial quality control issues and that they've been working directly with Folomov to resolve a possible internal problem. As of March 2019, the lights still have not come back in stock, but they're reported to be on their way back soon. Unlike any other friction fit pocket clip, I haven't had any issues with this particular one popping off. The clip's tension is just right and has kept it secure in my pocket for the last month, despite carrying it in some pretty tricky situations. After over a month of near constant carry, I can confidently say that the C1 is one of the best single-cell compact lights that I own, and one I can recommend without hesitation. This little guy might not have the runtime, output, or throw of a bigger light, but it definitely outperforms any other light of its size. Whether or not you're a flashlight geek looking to try out the newest high CRI emitter, or just an EDC enthusiast looking for a solid light, I haven't been able to find a better light with more premium options for the price.